screened more than 17 million people during the long holiday period, about 8% more than last year. Friday volume resulted in more than 200 cancellations and more than 4,500 delays through afternoon. That's according to the tracking service FlightAware.
Yep.
Seattle Tacoma International Airport is still working to restore all services after a possible cyber attack last weekend.
All right, Rudy coming out, and then the Bucks theme before Ian, Gator theme before Jack.
Yeah, and don't forget, we're calling all the guests. You've got their numbers, right?
I do.
Okay, great.
Checking bags. I'm Norman Hall.
And this is SRN News.
The following program is sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Get ready with your legal questions and call Patrick now. 877-943-9673. Again, that's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Patrick Smith.
If you don't know what movie this is from, we will probably never be friends. On the other hand, if you have goosebumps right now, we'll probably be best friends. Alrighty, let's get this show started, kicking it off with, of course, the Final Game soundtrack from Rudy. As we kick off our college football season, that's right, college football's back, baby. We got a day's worth of games and all kinds of possibilities this season for my Florida Gators. And we've got an action-packed lineup dedicated to football. This episode of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, as always, we're, of course, taking your legal questions. 877-943-9673 if you want to be part of the show. Again, I'm local Central Florida Attorney Patrick Smith. I'll turn it back up, Joe. You know you've seen a movie a lot when you hear the music and you're watching the movie in your head and you can actually repeat the lines from this entire scene. So right now they're all on the sideline and Coach Dan Devine's there. He's got the paperwork rolled up. He's looking at Coach Yanto and he's about to make a gesture with one hand, kind of like, yeah, you know, I guess. If we have to. Their whole stadium's cheering for the kid, so send him in, I guess. And then Coach Yanto goes, okay, kid, get in. And there goes Rudy onto the field. Such a great underdog story. Kids, if you're out there and you've never seen the film Rudy, and you want to watch a great film about the lesson of working hard for something, and never giving up on a dream and realizing those are the people that change the world for the better, The people that realize their story is not over until they win. Folks, that movie is called Rudy. Now he's lined up on the line. I can see it. And what's he going to do here? What's Rudy going to do? He's going to stay in the game. That's right. And you got to be in at least one play to be officially part of the team. Well, Rudy's in 2 plays. But what's he do on the second play? First play, part of special teams. Second play, defensive end. And then, of course, they snap the ball, and Rudy what? Sacks the quarterback. Only player in Notre Dame football history to have 100% of sacks on every defensive play he played. And I don't want to hear from you haters who say he was lined up offsides. He wasn't offsides. A different era in football. Different rules. All right. Such a great film. Joe, it's one of those films, if it's 10 minutes in or 10 minutes to go, I'm watching it. And my allergies are acting up. I don't know about you, but like this one always gets me. And this is just such a great movie. So, folks, Rudy, watch it this weekend. I guarantee you and your family will be better for it. So many great life lessons. There's that scene with the priest where he says, "Have I done everything I can?" And the priest basically says to him, "I'm sure you have." And he asked, "Have I prayed enough?" And he says, "Son, prayer is something we do in our time. The answers come in God's time." And he went on to ask the priest, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Son, in 30 years of theological studies, I've discovered only 2 incontrovertible facts. There is a God, and I'm not him." How's that for hitting the post, Joe? Just on the fly. Look at that. Such talent. So, no, I'm talking about Joe Weaver, not blowing my own horn. Joe Weaver did an amazing job producing that and getting that song queued up perfectly. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. You want to be part of the show? Give us a call, 877-943-9673. Action-packed show for you. Lots of guests lined up for today's show, all football related. Let's go to our very first guest, who was a member of the University of Florida Fighting Gators back in the middle 2000s, and actually was part of both national championship teams, played in a total of 41 games, is a Tampa boy, and comes in at 6'8". I feel like I'm doing the announcement. At 6'8", 300 pounds, from Chamberlain High School. It's our friend, your favorite, Kyle Newell. Kyle, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing today?
Doing great, Patrick. Thanks for having me.
So, Kyle, you're one of the Gator greats for sure. I remember the first time we met, and I watched you duck through the door frame. I was like, goodness gracious, this guy played football. And and you said, I've gotten smaller. And I was like, yeah. I was like, then what did you look like when you played? Just unbelievable. So, Kyle, thanks for being part of the show. And I'll talk about how you and I kind of know each other later. But just first of all, the start of college football season, you were in that locker room. You were there for opening day in the Swamp. Try to give our listeners a little sense of that buzz, the energy, and being in that locker room on opening day in the Swamp. Because I've been to the Swamp. There is no place like the Swamp, especially a night game against like an LSU or Tennessee, the energy there. So maybe just speak a little bit about what it's like from a player's perspective.
Yeah, Patrick, it's I mean, I'm having chills right now, even just remembering the feeling.
Me too, and I wasn't even a player, Kyle. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's there's really nothing like it. It's like the anticipation of Christmas morning, but as an adult, I guess. You know, it's like you just get to you prepare all year, because a lot of people think it's really just training camp, but you really start training in January during the off season, and pretty much all through the summer. We only got maybe a week off the whole year, up until the football season, as far as not doing training and practicing and stuff. So you're focused and ready to just, our coaches would always say, let the chains loose, just be able to get out there and get after it. And so whenever you walk into that environment, as you're running out of it, here comes the Florida Gators, and they got Thunderstruck blaring, and you're running out of that tunnel. It's something magical for sure.
So Coach Pat Morris of the Buffalo Bills, and also a little time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was actually a neighbor of mine for a little while, and he pops into town every so often. And I passed him on a run one day, and I said, I don't know, Coach, I think I might have made it in the NFL. And I was making a joke about being a kicker, and he sort of stood back, looked me up and down. He goes, defensive back. And I was like, well, that's a professional opinion right there. Of course, I couldn't have played defensive back. But anyway, he was just being nice.
I see it.
Well, you're being kind too. But talk to me about what was your off-field, off-season training? Because, I mean, you're a creature, brother. I mean, you're definitely a gentle giant, but 6'8", 300 pounds. Those are the specs they give you back at Gainesville. So what was your particular training regimen? What were you benching? What were you squatting back then?
Yeah, so that's it's definitely benching, squatting, but it's more, I think, the secret sauce, at least during our time, was they really focused on mental toughness. So we never really benched or squatted for max. It was more, how many times can you do it, and then do it 3 or 4 or 5 more times. So, and just trying to push yourself just beyond what your body could do. Now, I think the most reps I did on 225, I think I did like 17 or 18 reps. So I wasn't anywhere close to the strongest guy on the team, but I'm 6'8", long levers is hard to move a lot of weight, but yeah. So we would, it starts in January with you're doing lifting and speed. So usually the morning, a typical day is we would lift in the morning, usually probably an hour and a half or 2 hour training in the morning. That's usually 4 days a week. And then in the afternoon, we would have, another 2 or 3 hours of speed drills, agility drills. Your individual position would do, kind of walk through or not walk through, but run through all of your different individual drills. And then we would also, from January up until spring break, basically, we would do, that was really mental toughness training for us, where we would do mat drills, which were just absolutely brutal.
I'm glad you brought those up, because that was like military training. That was in the document. Did you watch the documentary, by the way? On Netflix?
I watched it. It was pretty true to the time.
Now,
sure.
Coach Meyer made a point about keeping you guys out of trouble on Friday nights by having those midnight workouts. You were part of that midnight workout, and of course, you worked out with some guy, you may have heard of him, Tim Tebow. Can you speak to what it was like to have, Tim Tebow as a teammate? Everyone I've heard of and talked to says the hype's real. He's that awesome. He's that nice, and he's that great of a teammate. And of course, he gave that iconic speech after the loss to Ole Miss. Can you speak to what it was like, first of all, those midnight workouts, and then secondly, what it was like to have Tim Tebow as a teammate?
Yeah. The midnight workouts were intense. It's funny, they actually kind of hype up the midnight workouts. Those were more fun than hard. I would say our harder workouts were the 4 a.m., 5 a.m. ones, but the midnight ones they were just doing that almost, I guess, to Coach's point, to let us have fun, but be doing it at a time where we would be getting into trouble possibly. So they were hard workouts for sure, but they were more because you had the whole. Not very often would you have the whole team in the weight room. Usually we would break out by position group, because the weight room is big, but it's hard. It's hard to get, for 120 guys to get it all together. But the midnight workouts were, it was just a lot of team building.
Well,
type,
and you had some.
Stuff. Yeah.
I know we were just talking about Tebow, but you had Major Wright on that team. You had Percy Harvin on that team. I mean, you had some absolutely amazing teammates all the way around. And you're talking about the getting a couple more reps as opposed to a heavyweight, almost like a Mincer method, where it's about that intensity, not about just training constantly. And and I love that story, and I definitely try to bring that intensity to my workouts, but nothing like the madness that you're describing. But I love the fact that you said it sounded more fun. And in the documentary, there was a couple mentions of an athlete or two showing up with an adult libation in their system. I'm not going to ask you to comment on that because we don't want to mention any names, obviously. But I did want to get your opinion on Tebow. Is the hype true?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. He is who you would think he is, and just an incredible dude all around. But just fiercely competitive, and talk about mental toughness. I mean, the guy. So I'll share a story. We would do a lot of times they focus on what they call finishers. So basically you do your full workout, so you're exasperated, they're pushing you to your limits, and then we would do a finisher. And that was just like we'd do a wall sit, you'd have to hold maybe like a 45-pound plate out in front of you while doing a wall sit, and you just hold it until you can't hold it anymore. And so like they would line all of us up and we'd all be doing it. So you're no one wants to be the first to break. But so we'd go 2, maybe 3 minutes. Tim would sit there for like 8, like we'd be done and he'd sit another 3 or 4 minutes in that position just to like prove that he was, a devout competitor and leader and wanted to push us and show us, that more is possible than what we think our minds can do, So.
Yeah, I've never had the privilege to meet Tebow, but I hope to get the opportunity one day. And all the stories, everyone confirms they're true, that he's just that awesome of a guy. And I appreciate you confirming it. Now, Kyle, you and I know each other because you took your career from football and you're actually now a licensed CFP financial advisor. So give everyone kind of your 30-second information if people are in the market for a financial advisor and need someone to work with, kind of how they would get in touch with you and your office information.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah,
yes, I'm a financial advisor. I work mostly with people kind of on that cusp of retirement, so early to mid 60s, figuring out insurances, figuring out how to create income, how to be tax smart with all of that. All of those decisions, of course, working with folks like yourself, making sure they have the right estate planning documents and all that stuff in place. And so, so I've been in business 14 years and have my own firm, independent fee-only fiduciary firm, for 2 years. My website's newellwm.com, newellwm.com, and be happy to help if folks are looking for help.
Oh, Kyle, make sure you're listening to the rest of the show because at 8:30 we got another guest who's going to be calling in, and I'm certain, 100% certain that you want to hear this guest. Okay.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah, we'll do.
Well, hey,
sure.
buddy,
Thanks,
let's get together for dinner soon, and actually the 8:30 guest, if you're listening, when you're listening, we're going to be having dinner. We should probably just add you to that dinner agenda. So I'll keep you in the loop for that, buddy. But I appreciate you being part of the show today. And any predictions on the game?
Gators by 10 is what I'm thinking.
So I've got it a little bit bigger than that. I got it Gators by 13. I got Gators 23, Miami 10.
Nice.
That's my prediction for today. And I think the Gators jump out early. And I think I also think one of our touchdowns is going to come from the defense or special teams. So that just kind of has that feel to it. But anyway, Kyle, you're the best. I appreciate you. God bless. Go Gators, and have a great Saturday. Okay.
Yeah. God bless. Go Gators.
Yep.
Thanks.
All righty. That was Kyle Newell, former offensive lineman for the University of Florida, and their 2 national championship teams, and the teammate of Mr. Tim Tebow, and excellent financial advisor. And we are very proud to work with him. And Joe, you can try again. That's fine. So, all right, let's go to Sarasota and let's talk to Joanne. Joanne, welcome back to the show. How's life been, Joanne?
Oh, fine. Good morning.
Good morning.
I haven't heard from you in a long time. I haven't spoken to you, rather. We'll be seeing you very soon down here, I think.
I know. I've got a trip coming up. I actually leave. So you guys will be getting best of the next 2 Saturdays because I will be over in London.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, we fly out next week. And so Joe Weaver's going to put together a couple of best ofs. And our good friend Stephanie J. Block, who won a Tony Award for playing Cher on Broadway back in 2019, is the lead currently in Kiss Me Kate over in London. So we're going to fly over, see that show, and then hop in a car, and we're going to drive the countrysides of Scotland and just kind of explore and check out various sites around and see what's going on behind enemy lines, so to speak.
My family is all over that area.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Do
really,
they-
up in Scotland and down in Somerset, which is gorgeous. A lot of outdoor activity, etc.
Do they have an extra bedroom?
I'll tell you, I don't know if you ever saw the program To the Manor Born, but it's an English program
Mm-hmm.
well, anyway, I won't go into that. What I called about was to tell you my estimation in you went up greatly when I heard how you loved the movie Rudy, one of the best movies ever.
Well, was your estimation of me down, Joanne?
No, but you know what I'm
yeah,
saying.
okay. I was a
A
little worried.
reevaluation, and it even went higher.
You're saying I went up a tick. Well, Joanne, that means the world to me. You're a treasure. You know, you're one of my favorite regular listeners and callers, and you are the reason why we're speaking at the Meadows, as you said. So
Right.
we will see you there, and I look forward to meeting you in person, and you enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend, my dear.
Right, and I loved your interview just now.
Oh, great. Well, stay tuned. We got another interview we're about to go into.
Right. Have a good time, dear. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Thank you, Joanne. Such a sweetheart. I love the listeners to this show, and I get all the messages. I get all the emails, and I treasure stories like this. I heard a story this week. A listener let me know. I listened to you on my way to work, and I'm late for work because I sit in the car to hear the end of your show. And I'm like, I'm not sure it's worth being late to work over, but they love and I get all those messages and I treasure them. I'm very humbled by them. So thank you. We do lots of fun things here, but we're not losing sight of the fact that we're a Saturday morning legal call-in show here to help you. 877-943-9673. Our next guest requires no introduction, especially for those of you who listen on 102.5 The Bone. Nevertheless, we will give him said introduction. Joining us now on the line, a proud member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a member of the NFL Football League for 9 seasons, and also a radio personality now on multiple stations and a pedigreed history in broadcast. Joining us on the line, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ian Beckles.
How are you this morning?
Good, Ian. I was trying to find some Tampa Bay Buccaneers music, and the best I could come up with was Dirty's "Buck 'Em Up." And I listened to it earlier in production, and I was like, this kind of has an Ian Beckles feel to it. So I thought this would be good intro music for you. What do you think?
That's not bad. I think we should create some new Buccaneer music because there's really no great Buccaneer music if you think about it. So I'm on it right now.
Can I just be the hype man on stage?
You could be the Flavor Flav of the song. Yeah.
As long as you got the clock for me to wear, I'm in. So, Ian, so I appreciate you being part of the show. You and I met when we were filling in, I think, for Drew and John, and Mo and you and I were sitting in, and you know how you just meet some people and you just hit it off. I felt like you and I really just, radio guys who could just chop it up for a couple hours, and really appreciate you making the time on a Saturday morning to be part of the show. And just kind of tell us what the first Saturday of college football season means to you. You went to Indiana. And so just talk a little bit about kind of those opening day butterflies, jitters, hype, excitement. What was it like that first game of the college football season?
Well, I mean, I try to be as honest as I can. I mean, I grew up in Montreal, Canada, right? So I didn't really grow up a huge college football fan. I went to junior college in Iowa. Then I went to Indiana for 2 years. And I only started for 1 year. So I don't think I really ever knew the atmosphere of a college football game. I think I know it now. I'm more of an NFL person as far as watching football. I'll watch football today. But to me, the NFL season gets my juices flowing. And college season, I don't really get activated till the end of the season. So I'll be watching football today. But it's not a celebration for me. I'm more of an NFL guy.
Well, I guess then kind of speak to that. When you have that first game of the NFL season, the hype, the excitement. Now, there's no minor leagues per se for the NFL, but I was a baseball guy, if you don't know that. And the jump from minors to major league and opening days in the major league, it is a absolutely cavernous jump. So I can only imagine what first game vibes are like in the NFL. What's the intensity like in those locker rooms?
I don't think I can explain it because I don't think I even understood it. I mean, every sport you play, when you get to the next level,
Yeah.
I mean, when you go from college to pros or AA to AAA, I don't think everybody understands. Like when you're in AA, they're throwing 85, and when you get to AAA, they're throwing 90. When you get to the league, they're throwing 95. So those are all different animals. So college, when I got to college, I was just so oblivious to what was going on. I just kind of went through it. When I got to the NFL, and I played my first game in Detroit my rookie year, and I started, that was a lifelong dream come true. So the emotions were a lot. We got through the game. We won. We actually played very well as an offensive line. Tony Mayberry started next to me as well. But the emotions of a lifelong dream coming true is hard to explain unless it's happened to you, because it's kind of an out-of-body experience. But when NFL season comes around, I feel like something gets revitalized in my body, because I played football from 7 to into my 30s. So when football season comes, it's time to go. So I feel like I should be doing something extra, and I guess the extra is watch a lot of football.
Well, and I tell you right now, clearly a great player. If you were in the NFL for 9 seasons, I mean, that's speaks to a high caliber of athleticism and professionalism on your part. And I think you've transitioned that same professionalism and intensity to your radio career. I meant to tell you, by the way, when you were filling in for Mr. Mike Calta, excellent job.
Yeah.
You absolutely crushed it. You and John Sinning that week. I mean, you guys absolutely, no lack in entertainment in Mike's absence. You guys did an amazing job. And kind of speak to what it's like now being in the broadcast field. I mean, there's no comparison to being in that locker room in the NFL, but there is a hype. There is an energy to broadcasting. I mean, I feel it every Saturday morning when I come in to do this legal call-in show. So maybe what's the energy like? What's the hype like? What's the high like for you doing broadcast?
Well, I mean, I'm going to disagree with you. I think everything you do in life is similar, and the NFL is just a job, The only difference is they pay you more money to do it, and maybe more people want your job. That is for sure.
Are you saying there's no money in radio, Ian?
You know I'm right. You know I'm right when I say there's no damn money in radio. There's like 3 people making money in radio in the whole Tampa area. Everybody else is just doing it because it's a hobby. I just let everybody know that.
That's funny.
But, when you go through life, I first of all, I appreciate you giving my accolades and saying that what I did was hard, because now I know that at 57, when my body's broken up and I looked back to what I did, I know how hard it was. But everything in life is hard. You can make it hard. If you have a radio show, you can have a half-ass radio show, or you can have Mike Calta's radio show.
Yeah.
So, you can't fake these things. And Mike puts probably as much into his radio show as I did getting prepared to play football. So, radio is something I did after football. I own a kava bar. I have podcasts. I coach at Chamberlain High School, 2-0 Chamberlain High School football team. Everything I do, I try to do it the same. Like, if somebody says, hey, Ian, would you help me with this? If I can't go 110%, I won't do it. So, as a coach at Chamberlain, I'm coaching the offensive line. This morning, I'm watching film. None of my kids are watching film. I'm watching film. So, I just don't know. There's a level to everything, and my level just might be a little higher than everybody else's. And it might be on the verge of insanity, to be honest with you.
Well, you're a person of excellence, Ian, and it shows. And speaking of Chamberlain, our first guest was Kyle Newell, who was a member of the University of Florida's 2 national championship teams with Tim Tebow, and he's a Chamberlain grad as well. But he was
really
6'8", 300-pounder out of Chamberlain from back in 2005. And sort of a Yeah, you guys could use him today, I understand. By the way, I checked the score last night, but when I checked, it was 0-0 still. What was the final score?
The final score was 41-14, Chamberlain over Freedom. And listen, I'm not here blowing smoke like when James Wilder Jr. asked me to help him with his offensive line, and then it was taken over by Chad Wood, who is now the head coach. James is still helping us out. That team hadn't won in 2 years, and I looked it up, and their last win was a forfeit. And they basically gave us a ball of clay that was dried up and decrepit. And we figured out a way in the offseason to get these kids a lot tougher than they were. And to see the looks on these kids' faces, there's some kids that have never won before. And to see them win 2 games in a row is like, to me, is one of the better things in my sports career.
Well, it's you and it's Chad working so hard, and probably Carmen's pregame meals that she's cooking.
No doubt.
But at the end of the day, you guys are doing an amazing job there at Chamberlain. And Ian, means the world to me that you took time to be part of the show. Any predictions on the Gators-Canes game today?
I'm the wrong guy to ask for college football.
No, because there's no such thing as a wrong guess. It's your guess. Go, brother.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to go for those 2, I would go Canes.
Canes by
2.
Canes by 2. There it is from Mr. Ian Beckles, our former Tampa Bay Buccaneer great and now offensive line coach for Chamberlain High School. Ian, thank you so much for being part of the show. Have a great Labor Day weekend, brother.
Anytime, you too.
All right. All righty. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. If you want to be part of the show, 877-943-9673. I'll give out the office line real quick because people will get angry if I don't. 844-PATRICK, 844-728-7425 if you want to schedule your complimentary estate planning consultation. 844-PATRICK or 844-728-7425. You can also submit the request directly through the website, attorneypatricksmith.com. All right. Now, our next guest certainly needs no introduction, but I'm going to take a deep breath because it's quite the introduction. Our next guest spent 14 years in the NFL back in the 70s and 80s. 5-time consensus All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowl selection. He's a member of the Gator Football Ring of Honor, and he is also a proud member of the NFL Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him as Mr. Jack Youngblood. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the hotline, Jack Youngblood. Jack, how are you today?
We're good, buddy. We're good.
So, Jack, when I was looking up your bio, I remember the first time we met, and I saw your full name, and you don't mind me sharing it on the air, your entire name, do you?
No, I'm proud of it.
So it is Herbert Jackson Youngblood III. I mean, it sounds like your family lived on a plantation up there in Jefferson County. I mean, that name is just dripping with so much history and tradition. It's not even funny. But Jack, thank you for taking time to be part of the show today. It is such an honor to speak to the man that John Madden himself dubbed the John Wayne of football.
Coach had all kind of stuff coming out.
He really was. We were talking before the show about how intense he was to the sort of Valium that Summeralls was. I mean, they just sort of balanced each other out in a lot of ways. But Jack, I want to take you back to those days as a Gator. What was the first game of the season like? What was it like in the locker room back then on the campus?
Well, Coach Graves was one of the best guys in the business of college football. And, I was amazed that, I come out of, I had, in high school, I had 40 people in my class. That's all.
Yeah. Cause you're from Monticello, which is not a big metropolis by any means.
No, it's not. In 25 miles from Tallahassee, and but it was fine. We grew up there, and then I got an invitation to Gainesville, and I won the championship for high school. And I'm in the goal line, and got my girlfriend under my arm, and somebody grabs me by the arm,
mm-hmm.
and I turn and look, and I didn't know the gentleman. And he said, Jack, how would you like to be a Gator? And I said, let me think about it. And I turned around and said, yes, sir.
So recruiting was a little different back then, I'm guessing.
Yes, it was.
Well, Jack, so now you're also famous for being the only player that I know of, and I think anyone knows of, that actually played in multiple games, multiple playoff games, including a Super Bowl, with a broken leg. And I watch players today now with all the protocol and all the new safety requirements, and it's really softened the game a lot. But guys like you and Leroy Selman, and it was just a different time. So do you think the game with all the new safety protocol is getting better? Or, I mean, because the opinion I want is the opinion of the guy who played games with a broken leg. So do you think the game is getting better with the new safety protocol, or do you think it was better back when guys were toughing it out like you?
To be honest with you,
yes,
brother,
sir. Please.
It sucks. The game sucks today.
Well, there's an honest opinion from a guy who, I mean, you were just known for being so. You and Leroy Selman have to be two of the toughest guys to ever play the game. I mean, Leroy Selman used to swat the quarterback in the helmet if he couldn't get to him to tackle him. And it's one of those situations where, now that's a penalty. If you make any sort of contact with a quarterback above his shoulders, you're done. And it's just unacceptable. Now, you were inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2001. So you've been a member of the NFL Hall of Fame for 23 years now. And what was that like, getting inducted?
Well, it was amazing, to be honest. It's, and I had my teammate Merlin Olsen was there, and he came and introduced me, and I was going, what have I got into here? But it's amazing to be there with all of the talented football players.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it was like to be there, with your family surrounding your beautiful wife, Barb, and all your teammates, and the jacket. Now, if I was a member of the NFL Hall of Fame, and I won't ever be, where do you keep the jacket, Jack?
It's in the closet.
Is it? Now, if it were me, every morning when I would wake up after I get out of bed, I'm putting that jacket on before I have my morning coffee. Do you ever just put on the jacket and like walk around there with Barb, and like she's like, Jack, again, the jacket, really? And you're just walking around with it on?
No, I do every now and then. People will ask, bring your jacket to the party, and sometimes I will, sometimes I don't. I'm proud of it. There's no question about that.
Well, if you wear it out to dinner with Barb, you're not paying for that meal. Like, they are going to pick up the tab for you, like whatever you get. Like, there's power in that jacket, Jack, and I think you need to fully lean into that.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It turns a lot of heads. That's for sure.
Well, I can believe it. And Jack, any prediction for today's Gators game against the Canes?
Well, they better win.
Yeah, they need to.
They need to, and they need to set a practice of what they need to do to be strong for the season.
I miss those Urban Meyer, Steve Spurrier days where it was a question of not if Florida was going to win, but was it going to be by 30 or 40 points this game? I miss those sort of fun and gun dominant days, and hopefully Napier's got the secret formula figured out so that we have that sort of game. Do you have any predictions on the score for today, Jack?
I'm thinking that they may put 21-23 on the board, I believe.
That's what I predicted. See, look at there. Great minds thinking alike, Jack. Jack, I did say to you, and I meant it, next time I'm over there in the Orlando area, I am going to take you and your bride out for dinner, and appreciate you guys, your friendship, and you being a faithful guest on the show and participant now. This is your second appearance on the show, and we appreciate you so much. And just wish you nothing but the best, and hope you have a wonderful. I'm sure Barb's nearby. Give Barb my best, please, and have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Okay, Jack.
Thank you, bud.
All righty, bye
Appreciate
bye. Yes, sir. Go Gators. All righty, that was Mr. Jack Youngblood, NFL Hall of Famer Jack Youngblood. As we continue our college football spectacular. Let's go to some legal questions now. Let's go to a very patient Beth in Tampa. Beth, how can we help you today?
Yes, I have a question on this sales surtax refund. I got a card in the mail, and I was wondering if you could explain what this is all about. When I read it, it said you have to submit a claim if you don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, Beth, can you rub the letter against the phone so I can hear what the letter sounds like? I'm just kidding, Beth. Don't do that. No, I'm just making a point. I need to see the letter. So if you want to, I'll be back in the office on Tuesday. And if you want to get me a copy of the letter, I'm happy to take a look at it with you free of charge. Tell you what, if anything, you need to do in response to that letter. Okay.
Oh, okay. I just email it, take a picture of it and email it to you.
All the above. You can email it, snail mail it, courier pigeon, however you want to get it to me. You get it to me, Beth, and I will be happy to take a look at it for you. And I appreciate you. Beth, you were on hold a long time because you called in towards the top of the show. You really wanted to know about this. So I am going to take care of it free of charge for you, just to make sure that you have the best answer to your question. You were 27 minutes, Joe? Beth, God bless you. God bless you. Beth, any predictions on the Gators game today?
Well, I really not into that, but
yeah, that wasn't my question, Beth. I wasn't asking if you were into it. I asked you to predict. I'm just kidding, Beth. No, so if you don't have a prediction, that's okay.
Yeah, I support all Florida teams. I'll put it that way.
What?
I support all Florida teams.
All Florida? No, Beth. I cheer for two teams every week. My Gators and whoever's playing Florida State.
Oh, okay.
All right. God bless you, Beth. You're a treasure, and I appreciate you staying on hold that long. That's got to be close to the record. I don't know what the record was, but Beth, congratulations. If you're not one, you're number two for sure. You're close to the top of the hold there. But we appreciate you, and have a great Labor Day weekend, okay?
Okay, you too. Thank you.
You're welcome, Beth. All righty, let's go to T in Sarasota. Hey, T, what's going on?
Hey, Patrick, how you doing,
Yeah,
brother?
T, I saw your Facebook message, by the way. But I'll let you ask your question because I doubt everyone went on my Facebook page and read your question. So go ahead, queue up your question, then I'll give you my answer.
I'll say it real quick. So I live in a neighborhood that is a deeded community. Now, it's not, closed up with fences and all that stuff, but we are a deeded community, actually, whatever the heck that means. And so we have an HOA. There's a small home that's been vacant next to me for several years, and two people finally moved into it a couple of years ago. And they're manipulative people. They know how to manipulate the system. They've lived in there for about a year and a half, and they've had a couple of violations with the HOA, but they always get around it. Well, the latest thing is they wanted to put a small pool in their backyard, and their house is pretty close to mine. It's about maybe 15, 18 feet away. So they're putting the pool in. Now, they know that they're supposed to go. There's two things about this HOA. They're real sticklers about fences, and you can't have sheds and stuff like that. And you can only have a fence in certain areas. And there's a 5-foot easement. It has to be on your property. They knew that. They put the fence up in one afternoon, and it was with some gentlemen who didn't speak English, so they didn't really know what they were doing. And they attempted to follow the property line, but they wound up having the fence bulge about a foot into my property. So the next day, the HOA came over. Oh, this is a violation. We're gonna, we're gonna make them move it, and if we're gonna move it actually 6 feet because it's a foot on your property. I was like, great. They're gonna do what they're supposed to do, and what they've always done with other people. There was a special meeting. Lady goes there. And I get a letter. Well, we felt bad for her, and so the board decided to give her an exemption, and the fence is going to stay where it is. I'm like, you're going to be kidding me. Like, why do I spend $500 a year belonging to this HOA, blah, 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 blah. But my main concern is I'm not going to fight it if I don't have to. It's a foot on my property. Okay, whatever. Can I leave it alone and not have to worry if I'm going to sell the house a few years from now? Or do I have to worry about the famous adverse possession, which everybody's terrified about? People are saying, oh, you got to call a lawyer and you've got to make them move the fence or you're not going to be able to sell the house. Then I talked to one particular guy who's been in real estate for years. He goes, T, that's a bunch of crap. You're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. You could still sell the house. Just let them have their foot of property for now. What's your verdict, sir?
Well, number one, I think the HOA getting involved, it's going to come down to the bylaws. That's the technical answer to your question you posted on the Facebook page. We're going to have to look at the bylaws and see what authority and what duty they have to handle it. It is a property dispute. So in a classic trespass sense, their fence is trespassing on your property. I do think you need to give them notice. But remember, T, these are neighbors. So I think it's also one of those things where you just maybe go over and say, hey, I just wanted to point out your fence is on my property line. Not a big deal. I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of it. So if you wanted to move it, just, make them aware. If they are just sort of jerks about it, send them a certified letter. And that way you show that you put them on a written notice. That should thwart the adverse possession because you've now given them notice that it's still your property and their fence is trespassing on their property. You could, of course, sue them. And have them court ordered to move the fence. It's going to come up in an issue down the road. If you go to sell, you can't just pass the buck because the new property owner is going to survey the property and they're going to see that fence was on their property that they were acquiring. Matter of fact, when I bought a home, the surveyor and the realtor called me in a panic and said, "You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. The fence is on your property line." And I said, "Okay." And they go, "Why aren't you more animated than that?" I said, it's our fence. That's why it's on our property line. They're like, oh. So sometimes people just classically overreact. But the short answer is I think you need a letter to them. If not if a handshake conversation puts it a piece, it doesn't sound like it will for you because of the nature of the parties. So probably just a letter. I would send it regular and certified mail. That way, if they refuse the certified mail, there's a presumption they got the regular letter sent through regular U.S. mail. And if they sign for the certified, you got a paper trail showing they got notice. And of course, you always have the option to bring in counsel, have the attorney send them a letter and say, we don't want to sue you, but if you don't move the fence, we will sue you. But I think it's an issue you need to address one way or another.
All right, Patrick, I will send the letter and maybe I'll talk to them. There is one particular individual.
Yeah, they're neighbors. So just treat them neighborly. You'll be surprised sometimes the response that'll get you. And T, appreciate you waking up early to listen to the show. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend, okay?
God bless you, brother. You too. And by the way, last week I really enjoyed your show, especially when you prayed with one of the people that called. I thought that was it was heart touching. It was very commendable. And I don't know, man, you're a cool guy.
T, your kind words mean the world to me, and I'm very humbled by them. And great listeners like you are why we get up early on a Saturday morning to do this show. Thank you, T.
Thank you, brother. God bless.
Thank you, T. God bless you. 877-943-9673. You can actually hear me before I leave for London. I will be on a Cat Named Mo show this Wednesday evening. So if you want to hear me one more time before I leave for London, Wednesday evening, 102.5 The Bone on a Cat Named Mo show. Otherwise, I will be back in this chair. Well, I will be back behind the mic in a couple weeks live, but you'll get best stuff for the next 2 weeks. To reach me at the office, 844-PATRICK, 844-728-7425. God bless. Stay safe. Thank you, everyone. Go Gators.
The proceeding was sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. W282CI Tampa, W262CP Bayonet Point.
Online at letstalkfaith.com or listen on TuneIn and Odyssey.
Congress is poised to pass a bill to keep AM radio in cars, but time is running out. 82 million Americans risk losing the news, sports, talk, traffic, and vital emergency information they rely on. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to pass this bill now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service